Alright, today Beta 4.5 v4 has finally been released, and as expected, there are several interesting changes that we need to go over together. As always, all of the information we'll be discussing in this video comes from a reliable source, Nanoka. In the previous video, we took a comprehensive look at version 5.x, where we discussed the next planet we'll be visiting as well as the new emanator that may appear there. If you haven't watched that video yet, I highly recommend checking it out first. This time, however, our main focus is Beta 4.5. We'll be covering something that many players have been waiting for: the changes made to Robin Summer and Aventurine Wave Flare in Beta 4.5 v4. And yes, unlike most v4 beta updates, this one actually includes several gameplay adjustments to both characters. So, without further ado, let's begin with Robin Summer. Robin Summer received several adjustments in Beta 4.5 v4. Let's start with her signature light cone. The max HP increase remains unchanged at 30%. However, the action advance when entering battle has been reduced from 40% to 30%. The 20% speed buff remains unchanged at Superimpose 1. However, at Superimpose 2 through 5, the speed bonus has been buffed. Instead of scaling from 24% to 36%, it now scales from 25% to 40%. After that, let's move on to Robin Summer's main kit. The first change is her technique. The original effect remains exactly the same. However, a new effect has been added. Now, at the start of the next battle, Robin also gains 20% action advance. This is actually a very nice quality of life buff, since it allows Robin to take her turn earlier and summon her Memo Sprite more quickly. The next change is on Trace 1. The only adjustment here is the crit damage buff. Previously, it increased crit damage by 40% plus vibes times 1%. Now, it has been increased to 40% plus vibes times 1.5%. The duration remains unchanged at 2 turns. Next, let's move on to her Eidolons. Out of all 6 Eidolons, only 3 received changes. Let's start with Eidolon 1. This Eidolon has been completely reworked. Previously, it increased Robin Summer's maximum vibes by 20, and the first time an ally used an ability that generated vibes during any character's turn, Robin gained 2 additional vibes. Now, that effect has been replaced entirely. Instead, Summer Songbirds now records 100% of the non-true damage dealt by allies. When the Memo Sprite uses its skill, it additionally deals true damage equal to 11% of the recorded damage plus 0.1% per current vibes point to the enemy with the highest HP. Then clears 50% of the recorded value. In other words, the old Eidolon 2 effect has now been moved to Eidolon 1. Now let's look at Eidolon 2. Since the previous E2 effect has been moved to E1, Eidolon 2 naturally received a completely different effect. Now, Eidolon 2 grants 20% all-type respen to all allies. It also increases Robin Summer's maximum vibes by 20, and the first time an ally uses an ability that generates vibes during any unit's turn, Robin gains 2 additional vibes. So essentially, this is the old Eidolon 1, but with an additional 20% all-type respen buff. Finally, let's talk about Eidolon 6. The all-type respen buff was changed from 20% all the way to 100%. Yes, you saw that correctly. 100% all-type respen. That would obviously be completely insane. However, according to HXG, this is simply a typo in the English translation. In the original Chinese version, the effect was actually changed to increase Memo Sprite damage by 100% instead. In other words, the all-type respen effect has been removed entirely. Which actually makes perfect sense, since that effect has already been moved to Eidolon 2. Now let's move on to Aventurine Wave Flare. Compared to Robin Summer, Aventurine actually received even more changes this time. Let's start with his base stats. His base HP has been reduced from 1242 to 1164. His base attack has increased from 427 to 485. His base DEF has been reduced from 752 to 606. Meanwhile, his base speed has increased from 103 to 107. The next change is his skill. The damage itself remains exactly the same, still dealing 240% attack quantum damage to all enemies. However, the amount of punchline generated has been buffed from 2 to 4. His ultimate also received a similar buff. The damage remains unchanged at 400% attack quantum damage to all enemies. However, the punchline gained has increased from 5 to 6. Next, let's talk about his traces, because all three of them received adjustments. Starting with Trace 1. This trace has been buffed. Previously, Aventurine needed 160 speed to gain the additional 30% elation bonus. Now, the requirement has been lowered to just 140 speed. This is an excellent buff because with the same build, Aventurine can now reach much higher elation values much more easily. Next is Trace 2. This one received a slight nerf. Previously, if there was another elation character in the team, Aventurine gained 100% elation at the start of battle. That value has now been reduced to 80%. Finally, Trace 3 received a very nice buff. Previously, after a teammate used a basic attack, skill, follow-up attack, or ultimate, only Aventurine himself gained 48% crit damage. Now, all allies also receive that same 48% crit damage buff. This is a fantastic improvement, especially for mono-male teams alongside Ashvale and M-Blade, where every member can now benefit from the additional critical damage. ND, that's the final change for Aventurine Wave Flare. Interestingly, none of his eidolons were changed this time. That means every adjustment he received can be fully enjoyed even at E0, unlike Robin Summer, whose V4 changes are much more focused on eidolon improvements. If we summarize everything introduced in Beta 4.5 V4, I'd say this is a very positive update overall. Robin Summer received several meaningful improvements, especially to her technique, trace, and eidolon progression, making each eidolon feel more valuable than before. Meanwhile, Aventurine Wave Flare is arguably the biggest winner of this update. Almost every change he received is a direct buff that benefits even E0 players, from increased punchline generation, stronger traces, to a higher base speed. Honestly, it's quite unusual to see both of these characters continuously receiving buffs from V1 all the way to V4. That makes me very curious whether this trend will continue into Beta V5, or if Hoyoverse will eventually tone them down before their official release. So, what do you think about all of these changes? Are you satisfied with the buffs Robin Summer and Aventurine Wave Flare received? Feel free to share your thoughts and analysis in the comments below. And with that, we've reached the end of today's discussion. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. Don't forget to share this video with your fellow Honkai Star Rail players so they won't miss any of the latest updates. Your support through likes and subscribes means a lot to the growth of this channel and allows me to continue creating informative content like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next discussion.